Okay, recording now. So we checked that, and we also checked how we can use participle clauses to link ideas. You probably remember we saw many examples, and we agreed that using the past participles for linking events or ideas sounds more formal. Okay, you probably remember this part. And remember, the goal here for the CAE, and not just for the CAE, for any exam, because there are many C1 exams, but in all of the pieces of writing of every single exam, what they check is academic language and academic writing. So the more formal you sound, the better grade you're going to get, okay? So we check the explanation. We learned then that we don't only use the ing, but we also use, which is called the present participle. We also use past participle with ed, okay? And we learn about these perfect participle clauses too, combining, have with ed and with conjunctions and prepositions. We did this activity that I'm displaying now, and most of your answers were correct. So I'm glad in that sense. Now, what we have to do is a listening, okay? Gloria, welcome. Can you hear us? Gloria? Hello, hello? And Ismael is entering too. Okay, so probably they can hear us. So I'm going to play an audio, okay? And we continue with the same topic. We will just cover this topic with a few more activities for consolidation. And then we continue with the part 6 that you can probably see on the screen, the part 6 of the preparation. All right. We check some helpful tips, we practice, and then we go to check something super important, which is phrasal verbs as well. All right. Now let me stop sharing a little bit to open my audio. Okay. Viewpoint. We're going to be working on the Viewpoint book, okay? Viewpoint. And let me tell you exactly the page. Hold on. It's very slow today. The page is 25. Okay, page 20, no, 34. And the audio, as you can probably see on the screen, is 1.25. So let me play the audio and share the screen again. Please tell me if you can hear. Can you hear it?
Page 34, lesson C. Having said that, 1. Conversation strategy. Changing views. B. Listen. What do Carol and Ashley say are the main pressures on young people today?
Okay, so what do we need to do now? We're going to have a conversation, still working on past participles to link ideas, and you will hear the conversation of these two people, okay? I'm sharing my screen, okay? But I don't want you to read, okay? I want you to just listen, because the question is easy. The question is, what do Carol and Ashley say about the main pressures of young people? This is an activity of listening for gist or listening for main idea. So I'm not going to show you the actual script. I want you to pay attention, since this is more common for you in a listening test, okay? So check the question. What do Carol and Ashley say are the main pressures on young people today? All right? So I'm going to share another part just to cover it. All right, so let's go back to the audio.
Do think life was a lot easier when I was your age. For young people, I mean.
You do? In what way?
Well, there wasn't all this peer pressure to have the latest fashions and cell phones and that sort of thing. But having said that, there were other pressures.
Like what?
Oh, back in the day, women were expected to stay home and raise a family. I mean, some women worked, but even so, their options were limited.
Well, I guess that's changed, which is good. But then again, they say women still do more of the household chores.
True.
I think the worst thing now is like pressure to get good grades. You can study and study, but even then, you're not guaranteed a good job at the end of it.
Yes, there's so much competition for jobs nowadays. But then I suppose there always was.
Okay, were you able to hear? Well, so the question is about the main pressures young people have today. What do Carol and Ashley think? What are the main pressures, guys, according to the listening? Was that enough?
They're getting to get good grades and not having found a good job.
Okay, okay, very good. Bere. Anyone else?
Yes, they say that the pressures are different. In the past, they were supposed to raise the family, and today they are pressured about things referring to the job, maybe.
All right, yes. Now, at the beginning of the conversation, Carol mentioned something, and she mentioned there was a difference between when she was young and now. What did she mention as a difference?
It's what Arely said, that women raise a family and they didn't work, and now they have to work and they have to do more house chores.
They have to do more house chores. Okay, very good. So now here we have the script. She also mentioned that right now, Carol mentions we have the latest fashion, and that is also a pressure on young people, right? She said that back in the day, as Arely mentioned, no, we didn't have that issue because women were expected to stay home, raise the family, that's it. But now we have a combination of everything. Like, for example, you guys work and you raise the kids, which is super difficult too. Okay, so those are the pressures. Very good. This is the first activity. It was just a listening activity. Okay. Now we're going to use what we learned. Okay. It says, notice how Carol and Ashley changed their views and express a contrasting view with expressions like this. Find examples in the conversation. So I'm going to go back to the script and I want you to write as many as you see, like the ones we have here on the top chart. Number one says, having said that, though, but then again. Okay, so I want you to observe the script and please write down the expressions you see. Okay, these are expressions we use in a writing or in speaking to change your point of view or to express contrast. You will be asked to express contrast in at least one of the activities in writing. Remember, because usually the writing is giving you options. This and this, what do you prefer? In what should we invest the money? So you have to express contrast. And in the speaking part, you also, at least in one activity, you are asked to express contrast. So these expressions are going to be your best friends. Okay. So please, you have 2 minutes Try to find those expressions, write them, and then we discuss, right? Hi, Alma.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, Alma. We're doing this activity now. Just give me a minute. Guys are about to finish. Or did you guys finish already? Did you finish already? Yes? No? Beren, you finished? Okay. Areli, Armando? No? Gloria?
Yes, teacher, I just got here, but I think I got what we have to do.
It was let me explain, Alma. We did a listening activity already, listening for gist. And after I said contrasting expressions for contrasting ideas are very important for the written and oral part of the exams. And that you can use these expressions we're learning today for those parts of the test. So we went back to the script because you guys were supposed to look for having expressions similar to having said that though, but then again. They are already here. You didn't need to write anything. They are here. You just needed to make a list. So let's check all together. Tell me one expression you wrote, Arely.
Sorry, I was muted. But having said that,
Having said that, okay. Can you read the complete sentence?
sure. But having said that, there were other pressures.
Okay, Armando, can you share one?
Yes, the next is, but even so, their options were limited.
But even so, imagine that sounds so formal. But even so, the options were so limited. Okay, even so, even then. Okay, very good. Better?
Yes, miss. But then again, they said women still do more of the household chores.
Very good. Very good. That's another good expression. Okay. Gloria, did you list any other expression?
But even then,
But even then, okay. Constanza, Leti, were you able to catch another one?
Yeah, but then hello,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yes. You
Yes.
said and then?
But then
But then, can you read the complete sentence?
Yeah, it's the last one. But then I suppose there always was.
Exactly. All right. Any other expression that we're missing, Constanza? Any other? I think that's it. Did anyone mention but then again? Yes, right? But then again, like
It was me.
yeah, but then again, they say women still do more of household chores. Very good. So these expressions are super important. This is why I wanted you to write them on the notebook. If you can write the complete sentence better, so that you know how you're connecting the idea. Now, this is what we're going to do. It says link each comment 1 to 6 with a contrasting view, A to F. Use an expression from the exercise C, which is the exercise above. You can use any of those 3 expressions, but you can also use the ones you wrote. Okay? The first one is done for you. There are so many social problems today. Having said that, though, there have always been issues to fix in society. Okay? You see what we're doing? We're connecting two ideas. There are so many social issues, but at the same time, they have always been issues to fix in society. But it sounds way more formal and more advanced in my lexis to say, having said that, though, than, but it doesn't matter because there have always been issues to fix. It sounds too informal. Okay? So let's do this activity. Who just joined? Alma, were you able to hear this explanation and activity? Yes, right?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. No questions on the activity?
No, not really.
Okay, perfect. So
Thank you.
let's do it. Welcome.
Bless you.
Thank you. Areli, I observed you were in the bathroom or I don't know. So this is what we're doing. We're linking the comments 1 to 6 with a contrasting view A to F. You can use the expressions that we have on top, Having said that though, but then, and the ones you wrote on your notebook, you can also use them if you want. The first
Yes.
one is done for you. There are so many social problems today. 1E, having said that though, there have always been issues to fix in society. Okay, so your partners are working on that.
Yes, thank you, teacher, because I need to open the door. That's why I ran.
Are you done? Guys, I'm asking you because I only see a few people on cameras. Are you done? No? Okay, just a few more minutes.
No.
Don't worry, don't worry. Look for keywords. That's the key. Keywords that connect the two expressions. Okay.
Teacher, hello, hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
Betty?
Uh-huh.
You're done?
I have a question.
Yes, tell me.
What is the difference between but even so and but even then?
But even so, and even then, they are pretty much synonyms.
Mm,
Let me see, even so, even then. Even then, it's more to something in the past, okay? This is the difference.
mhm.
Even then refers to something in the past, and even so, you can use it more to give the opposite result of an event. For example, even then would be like, um, when we say now and then using time expressions,
Mhm.
well, now refers to the present, and even then it means even in those days. That would be the only small difference. Other than that, the meaning literally is similar.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Teacher, we just have to use the three words that in expression in exercise C.
Sorry, Constanza. Your audio is cutting a lot. Can you repeat that?
We have to use the words in the exercise C.
Yes, the expressions. You can
Just
use
that expressions.
you can use having said that though, but then again, and you can also use the ones you wrote from the previous activity, from the script.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Ready? Guys, can we continue? All right. I think we can check them together to advance a little bit more. Okay. Gloria, can you please read number 2? Number 1 is done.
I wrote, you are not cool if you don't have a car. But even then, you had to have a motorbike to be cool at one time.
Exactly. It's good to know the difference between even then and even so, as Letty asked for this one. because when Gloria said, but even then, it means probably even in the 60s or even in the 70s, you know, how the guys, mostly the guys with motorbikes were seemed as cool. Okay, very good. Okay, Beta, you're raising your hand. Do you have a question?
No, Miss, just to say that I'm done.
Okay, okay. Actually, Beta, can you read the next one, please?
Yes, Miss. Getting a job is a real problem. But having said that, I don't know anyone who's unemployed.
So 3F, correct. Who struggled with this one? Did you guys struggle with this one in particular? No? Yes.
Well, in fact, I think that all of them sounds similar to me.
What sounds similar, Arely? The expressions, having said that,
Yes.
though, but then
Yes.
the expressions, don't worry, there is no correct or wrong expression. Maybe,
Okay.
maybe in some, then it's more used, as in the one Gloria gave us, but they are pretty much similar. Don't worry
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, but the first part of the exercise, it was easy for me, but in the second one, all of them sounds similar. That's why I struggle with the second part.
What do you guys think means having said that? Having said that or having said that though?
Habiendo dicho eso,
Mhm.
habiendo estipulado eso, mencionado eso.
Exactly. For example, number one, and I'm going to use Spanish for this one, just to clarify. Hay muchos problemas sociales hoy, today. Hay muchos problemas sociales hoy en día. Aunque habiendo dicho eso, siempre han habido problemas que arreglar en la sociedad. See what I mean? That's the meaning. Aunque habiendo dicho eso, o habiendo dicho eso, si le quitamos el though.
Right.
But, and when we say, but then, pero, in this case, in the one Gloria gave us, sería como, pero en aquellos días.
Pero antes.
Pero antes, exacto. Como recuerden que la traducción no es siempre like too literal. It depends on, one thing is translation and another is interpretation. So it's better if you interpret things. Also, but then again, what do you think it's the meaning of but then again?
Y luego otra vez.
Y luego otra vez, that would be maybe too literal, but yes, that's the literal meaning. What other idea do you have, guys, for this?
Pero entonces.
Pero entonces, okay. Okay. Pero a la vez, for example, Bere said, getting a job is a real problem, right? And then, but then again, I don't know anyone who's unemployed. But then again, in not too literal meaning, means por otro lado. Obtener un buen trabajo es un gran problema. Por otro lado, no conozco a nadie que esté desempleado. Okay? So just try to interpret the meaning. That would be all. All right. Constanza, can you read number 4, please?
Looks are important as is keeping up with the latest trends. I wrote, but then again, but I think it's wrong.
Sorry, Constance, I'm having issues with your audio. What's the answer?
I wrote, but then again, but I think I am wrong.
But what is the letter? A, B, C, D, F?
B.
B. No, it's correct. But then again, fashion has always been a big thing for people. So it's a contrast. It's correct. Okay. Armando, can you do next one, please?
Okay.
Yes. The number 5, yes. And you have to have the latest gadgets. But even then, it's hard to live without cell phone.
And you have to have the latest gadgets. But then again, it's, por otro lado, it's hard to live without a cell phone. Okay, but then again, or maybe having said that though, and any of those match. Okay. And finally, Alma, can you help us with number 6?
Yes, there's so much pressure to do well in school. Even then, education was the only way for my parents' generation to get ahead too.
Okay, here, even then, yeah, even then, incluso antes. Yeah, even then or but then. Okay, but then is important here. Even then or but then. Okay, perfect. Now, suggestion, the suggestion and the reason why. Remember, we don't choose all of the activities from the book, but we choose
Teacher,
the ones. Yes,
sorry, which was the answer for number 6?
but then or
But
even
then,
or even then, any of those.
Miss, could it be, but even then?
But even then, yes, yes, yes.
So as you mentioned, they're not good or bad or wrong answers.
No, there are some that we can maybe use more, like the expressions with then, when you mean back in the days. Okay, but
Thank you.
yes, you're welcome. The idea is not it's right or wrong answers. The idea is to add this to your lexis, to add this to your vocabulary so that you are able to use these expressions to express contrast in the speaking part of the test and in the writing essay that you have when you have to contrast and choose between museums or this. Okay? Excellent. All right. Now, we're going to listen, okay, more listening activity. We're going to listen to an audio called It's an Issue. This is what we have to do. Discuss the sentences below. Do you agree? First, we discuss, and then we listen to a conversation and which sentence best summarizes the main topic of the discussion. And since you cannot check, you write on your notebook 1, 2, or 3. That's it, and then you share with the class. But as you can see, the previous listening activity is listening for main idea. This one too. So today we're practicing listening for gist. Let's discuss the sentences below, all right? Number 1 says, parents are just not aware of the issues young people face. Interesting. Who has kids? Can you raise your hand? Who has kids? Okay. Gloria, no kids? Stay like that, Gloria. Stay.
Gloria has a lot of dogs.
Yes, I have like my 4 kids.
People
You
so
can
interested.
hear one, I think.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, it's not. It's the same that happened to you, teacher. We found her is a puppy on the street, and now I'm taking care of her while I find a home.
That's,
So I remember when
yes.
you show us your puppy. I'm not bringing her to show you because if I do that, she won't stop crying.
Yes, they're like that.
So I'm ignoring her.
Constanza, you said you have kids? No? Yes, no?
I'm sorry, teacher, I can hear you.
Do you have kids?
Yes, I have a daughter.
Okay, Leti, Ismael, Alma, do you guys have kids?
Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher, I have 2 children.
Ismael? Leti?
No.
No? Armando? So everybody but Leti and Gloria and Ismael, do you have kids? I don't know if Ismael is around. Okay, so the majority of you have kids, so and the others have students, so you can talk from experience maybe, all right? So what do you guys think of the first statement? Parents are just not aware of the issues young people face. What do you think?
Teacher,
Yes?
I cannot listen you very well. I don't know if it's my audio or, but I think that you are so
Far away.
distant.
Oh, let me turn off my video. Maybe that's better because it's been raining all night and in the morning where I live. Is it better? Is it better?
No, at the beginning of the class, I listened to you very well, but after the listening exercise, I don't know if you moved something, but after that, I didn't listen to you very well.
All right.
And I have my volume at 100%.
I have my volume right to, do you guys hear me well? Or maybe, I don't know, no? Let me, what can I do? Not even with the video?
I do hear you well. I don't know what's going on, but sometimes I can hear my other mates. For example, Arely was talking, right?
Yes.
I heard she was talking, but I couldn't understand what she was saying.
As I was mentioning at the beginning of the class, maybe today we are going to experiment issues due to the rain and the weather conditions. So let me do this. I'm going to log out and log in again, okay? So I'll be here. I need to leave the meeting, right?
We need to discuss these topics or after the listening?
I think we were about to discuss it when we couldn't hear anything. Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
We
discussing
have to
before
discuss.
the listening.
Yeah, and then we will have the listening.
Mhm.
What was the question? That parents are not aware of what their kids face?
Issues.
Yes, right now about the issues.
It says the recording started again. Do you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, it's better.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm going to try and keep the video down for a while just to see. And then if it works, we put it back, okay? All right, so sharing again. All right, what do you think of the first statement? The first statement says, parents are just not aware of the issues young people face. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree, teacher.
Yes, me too. I think it happens.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know with kids, but for example, with teenagers, it's a difficult stage in life because they are not adults. They are not enough able to decide, but they are not kids. And maybe the parents are in the middle and they do not approach to their kids and they do not leave them alone. So they have not good communication skills with their kids. And sometimes they don't know what happened in their environment.
Excellent, okay, very good. Who agrees or disagrees with Arely's opinion? Let's turn it into a debate. Who agrees or disagrees or has any other comment?
Well, actually, I agree. I have, well, they are not kids anymore. My kids, one of my sons is 21 and the other one is 15. So, yeah, they had this period in their life, no, where they wanted privacy. It's very important for them in some moment. And for me, it was very difficult because I really wanted to know what happened with them. and they were very quiet. No, they didn't want to share many things with me. And I think it's normal, no? But sometimes it scared me because I didn't know exactly what was happening. No, if they had a problem or something like that, it's difficult. I think it's easier when they are little kids, definitely.
Okay, excellent, excellent. But and even little kids sometimes, because mine has 8, and sometimes he's like, I want to be in my room today. And I'm okay, no, come to mine, let's watch this movie. But sometimes it's like they want their own space, you know, which is crazy. And right now, it doesn't really matter if they are young, they have their own cell phones because of school, they have their iPads. Like my kid, he uses his fingerprint for the iPhone. Of course, I also have the code, right? Because I need to monitor what he does, and I have the parental security on his phone. But it doesn't really matter all of these measures because they are smart and they are very technological. The other day I discovered he installed this game I told him not to for a million times. It's called Free Fire. And for me, I mean, I don't have anything against video games, but against that one in particular, yes, because every now and then I take his cell phone or the iPad, and I was checking, he had conversations with people, and he was like, yeah, I live here, I go to this school, I'm 8. And the other person was saying, oh, I'm also 8. But how do you know if the person is 8 or not? And if the person is 8, why are they asking, where does your mom work? Where do you go to school? So for me, that game is kind of dangerous because you can interact with adults disguised as kids, right? So sometimes they don't listen, and it's not that we're unaware. Sometimes they want us out, but we need to try and find a way. My sister was telling me it's a little invasive if you check. I disagree with that. I think it's my job, because if you put the technology in their hands, it's because in the age we live, right? But at the same time, technology means more dangers that you and me didn't have when we're growing up. Okay. It's crazy. All right, guys, statement number 2. Parents face challenges as their children grow up and become more independent. What do you think? Who can give us a comment on this one? Parents face changes as their children grow up and become more independent.
Yes, teacher. Yes, because you sometimes lose the control. You cannot, there's a moment when they just say, well, they don't ask for permission, no? They just start to take their own decisions, and it's difficult. That process is difficult.
What do you think, Armando?
Yes, I think yes, because sometimes we cannot understand their situations, and we can help them, but they don't want our helping. So it's really complicated. I don't know. In this moment, I am living this because my oldest child is 16 years old. So it's really complicated to talk with him. Yes, we face challenge.
Very good, very good.
But it doesn't matter exactly the age means. I have 2 kids. They are not 2 babies. The oldest is 14, almost 14 years old, and the youngest is 10. And I can say that the youngest thinks better than the oldest. But as you mentioned, they want to be independent. And because their mom works, they have to. So they have to prepare things, they have to solve their own problems. They ask, but they can also face their own problems, being independent, which is also nice. because you are helping them to face all the problems they will have in the future.
That's true. I mean, so the age, as people say, age is just a number. It has to do with other things, not just the age. It has maybe an impact because they want the independence. And I was talking to my niece yesterday, and I was like, yeah, because she's about to turn 15, so she wants to go out and all of that, you know. And I was like, yes, but COVID. So COVID is not helping parents with this, I believe. Excellent. Number 3, parents and children never used to have conflicts about how children should behave. So this is talking about past generations, okay? Parents and children never used to have conflicts about how children should behave.
Well, teacher, I think that in the past, we just obey our parents. No? And if not, they are going to hit us with a chancla or I don't know, right? But today they ask, why are you seeing me like that? Why I need to do this? They are questioning all the time the things that, or the punishments or the decisions about parents, from parents.
Exactly. I think you hit a key point, and I see many of your partners were noting. Why were you noting, Bere?
About what, Miss? I am lost. Knowing about the past?
No,
as
you were
Arely said?
nodding. Nodding means you were saying yes to Arely's comment.
Yeah.
Doing this.
Yeah, I agree with her because like 3 or 4 days ago, I was talking to my father, and yes, we managed that long time ago. Well, not long time ago. I'm talking about my parent generations. Their parents said, you don't have to do this. You aren't allowed to do this, and they don't. And as Arely says, for example, my kids starts arguing and starts saying, why, mom? But why? But why? And I said, well, because I'm your mom. And that's it, no? Because our parents used to say that, no? But nowadays.
Because I'm your mother.
Exactly, because I'm your mother and I know more than you. And my little kid said, but why do you think you know more than me, mom? And I said, because I'm young, I'm older than you, you know? So it's kind of difficult. So that's why I said, Miss, and I agree with that, Arely, because that happens. Long time ago, our parents just stay quiet and that's it. And they follow rules and they follow instructions. And also nowadays it's very difficult living here. It's very dangerous too. My parents said that he used to go to, well, yesterday I want to tell you something. Yesterday we were doing some exercises. I like doing exercises. And I put my kids doing exercises and they said, Mom, I'm like a old lady. I can move, I'm stretched, I can stretch, no? And I said, no, you can, but it is because they are not going out so often because, or due to COVID, which is not helping us a lot. And also all the activities that they have to do are in front of a computer, of a gadget, which is also something different from the past to now.
Exactly. Very good. Very good. Gloria, you don't have kids, but you experience this problem with your parents, with your nephews. What do you think?
I think regarding to number 3, I think that's not true. In my case, I think my parents got divorced when I was 4, so I wouldn't spend some time like with both of them like together. So my dad has always been like a really calm person. The one who sometimes gets like a bit angry is my mom, but I'm like my mom. My dad tells me all the time that I'm really similar to her. So sometimes that creates issues. But I remember that as a child, I loved to play with my cousins. Most of my cousins are boys. And one of my own would tell me all the time that I shouldn't be playing with boys. And for me, it was like, why? So it was something like, because I wanted to climb on trees and I wanted to go in my scooter and everything. So I used to say that my name was Rambo. I know I was crazy, not Gloria. So it was something like really difficult for me to understand why some grown-ups would tell me that I shouldn't be playing with boys because yeah, I didn't like that. So, but the other, I think that it's hard to be a parent. I am not one, but I have students, and sometimes I think, oh my God, this is really hard. I don't know what I would do if I were a parent.
Yeah.
But I get your point, teacher, because my boyfriend has a little brother, like they are like 20 years difference. So he is like 9, and I know I know because now I spend a lot of time with them. They have had a lot of trouble with the Free Fire.
Yes.
Just for the reason that you say, because of the messages. Because my boyfriend has found some messages similar, like, where do you live? How old are you? Do you like watching this kind of videos? So that's creepy. That's weird.
It's weird because they even ask where the parents work. What time do you go to school? I found some like, so what time do you finish school? Where's your school located? And I'm like, an 8-year-old, because they say I'm 8 like you, wouldn't ask those questions.
And since he's 8, he doesn't understand why. It's like for him, it's like a normal conversation.
They just
Like my friend, yeah, but we know that it's not true, that it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And there's another that it's called Roblox.
Roblox. I've
It's
heard that.
Yeah,
Same
because
teacher?
my daughter had it and I cancel it because of the same things, questions about her age. And my little girl said, Mom, but she is like me. And I said, no, baby, how do you know that? You don't face him or face her. Maybe it's an adult and it's not possible to be asking you a question like that.
Yeah. So what's the name so that I can check in the device?
Roblox, Miss. Roblox.
I'm going to give it a look. Letty, you're raising your hand?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, perfect. But related with number 3, I'm not completely agree because it says never. My opinion, I believe the conflicts was kind of different in the past. As my colleagues or my classmates says, nowadays it's different. Probably because the information that we have access, just thinking about 10 years ago or 20 years ago, kids wasn't able to access all this kind of information. One of the reasons I believe is now, in the past, people used to have just a limited model, how to behave. Of course, it was the parents, it was the relatives, the close relatives, just a few models. But now with the access of the information, that it's basically the world information around the world, you have access to more different lifestyles, different kind of models that kids take for granted that it's possible to behave in that way. And that has increased the conflict between parents and children. Yeah.
That's right. I think the word never, it's too direct, right? Problems, parents and kids, we always have had. And the thing I believe I agree with your partner's opinions is that right now kids question more because they are taught to do that. In the past, we were taught to just listen and do. But right now, kids are opinionated. Opinionated means obstinado o terco. They are more opinionated because they now, even at school, they teach them you have rights and you have to talk about your rights and you have to stand up for them and etc. Right? They have to hear you, all of that. So this is why now they question more than we did. It's a different generation, but
I remember.
yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I remember that my mother said one day that, well, my mother was born in the 60s, right? And And she said that when a person came to her home to visit my grandma, no, she was sitting in the living room as hello, no, and my grandma just watched her with bad eyes, no, like this. And then they say, oh, sorry, and then they go out, no, because they were maybe excited because of someone was visiting my grandma, but the conversation was about something about adults, no, issues, and it was not for kids. And today my kids are like this, hello, Gloria, how are you? Hello, Beta teacher. Oh, I am important. I want to participate. And I just see them in a bad mood. I say, okay, go out. Why? Why I need to go to my house, to my room? Why I cannot participate? What's this? And I say, oh my God, do you understand my way of seeing? And they say, why are you watching me like that? And they question all the time. Not only the punishments or good things or bad things, they question everything. No, about the news, about COVID, about family issues. So I think that they are more alert about things that happen, and they question more.
That's true. That's true. In the past, parents could control us with just by staring at you. You were
Yes, with the
controlled.
eyes, they control us with the eyes. And my girl says, why are you watching me like that? What did I do?
I know, and now they speak to adults as if they were kids. They don't talk with respect. It's crazy. All right, so let me play now the audio. Okay, let's play the audio. And let's do the activity. Remember, the activity, it's easy.
Page 30.
It's just, we already discussed. Now you have to listen to the conversation, okay? And choose the sentence that best summarizes the topic, okay? Ready?
5. 3. Listening and strategies. It's an issue. A. Discuss the sentences. Do you agree? Then listen to a conversation. Which sentence best summarizes the main topic of the discussion? Check the box.
Did you know traffic accidents are the biggest cause of death in teens? It's not surprising, really, though. They're allowed to drive at such a young age. We really shouldn't let kids drive till they're 21. Even then, you can't be sure they'll be safe.
True, but it's easier said than done, too. A lot of kids pressure their parents. Some of the kids I know just pestered their parents, to let them start driving as soon as they turn 16. Having said that, some parents encourage their kids to drive, too. I guess parents get so tired of driving their kids around, they feel like they've done enough of being a taxi service, and they think that kids are legally old enough to drive, so...
Yeah, they're legally old enough, but even so, I think it's too young. Young drivers take too many risks.
I know. They get so easily distracted by their friends and music and stuff. Really, it's terrifying. And you read all these stories. You even hear of kids texting at the wheel. Then again, adult drivers do that too. So you can't say it's just young people.
I know. It's such a dangerous thing to do. You can't believe they do it. Just irresponsible. But it must be hard for parents when their kids want to do things that they feel they're not ready for.
Oh, without a doubt. Like my friend's daughter is 9 and she wants a cell phone, which is ridiculous at that age. She's wearing makeup and stuff, trying to be grown up. Her friends all do too, but it's causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, a lot of my friends have stories about their kids growing up too fast. But then, thinking about it, I guess we cause problems for our parents too.
You mean like hanging around in malls and staying out too late? Yeah, I guess it's just part of growing up, doing stuff your parents don't like.
Yeah, we push the boundaries too. Even so, that wasn't so bad. In fact, I think I was good most of the time. I only got into trouble a couple of times. I think I was an easy kid to raise. Having said that, though, my mom probably wouldn't agree.
Yeah. With my two coming up to 11 and 13, I'm beginning to sympathize with my mom and see what she used to go through. But then thinking about it, my mom didn't worry so much about us, not like we do about our kids.
That's true. They didn't care if we rode bikes without helmets and things like that. Maybe we all just worry too much.
That's music now. All right. So, what sentence, in your opinion, best summarizes the main topic?
The second one.
Number 2.
Number 2, yes.
Number 2, Armando. What do you
Yes, I think the number 2.
2? Ismael, Eti, Constanza, Alma. What do you guys think?
Yes, I agree with number 2.
Perfect. In my opinion, is also number 2. Okay. This activity is very common on the exams. Best summarizes, best fits. When it says best, it means it won't fit as you would like it to fit, not too exact, but the one that is closest in meaning, closest in summarizing, okay? Excellent. Final activity, and then we will start with the reading part 6, okay? All right, so final activity, it says, listen again, complete the contrasting views as the speakers give next. For example, Troy says, you shouldn't let kids drive till they're 21. Even then, you can be sure they'll be safe. Okay, so now, this is not now listening for gist. This is now listening for specific information. It's a different skill of listening, okay? So I'm going to play the audio again, and you will complete this, and also me, okay, to check your answers, all right? Let me just
Miss, then do we have to copy the sentences?
not the sentence. If you want, just
Want to copy.
missing parts, okay? Because if not, it will take more time. All right? Ready? Okay. It's the same one. Well, it says 1.30. So it should be this one.
Page 35. 3. Listening and strategies.
Do you see the screen?
It's an issue. B. Listen again. Complete the contrasting views the speakers give next.
Did you know traffic accidents are the biggest cause of death in teens? It's not surprising, really, though. They're allowed to drive at such a young age. We really shouldn't let kids drive till they're 21. Even then, you can't be sure they'll be safe.
True, but it's easier said than done, too. A lot of kids pressure their parents. Some of the kids I know just pestered their parents, to let them start driving as soon as they turn 16. Having said that, some parents encourage their kids to drive, too. I guess parents get so tired of driving their kids around, they feel like they've done enough of being a taxi service, and they think that kids are legally old enough to drive, so...
Yeah, they're legally old enough, but even so, I think it's too young. Young drivers take too many risks.
I know. They get so easily distracted by their friends and music and stuff. Really, it's terrifying. And you read all these stories. You even hear of kids texting at the wheel. Then again, adult drivers do that too. So you can't say it's just young people.
I know. It's such a dangerous thing to do. You can't believe they do it. Just irresponsible. But it must be hard for parents when their kids want to do things that they feel they're not ready for.
Oh, without a doubt. Like my friend's daughter is 9 and she wants a cell phone, which is ridiculous at that age. She's wearing makeup and stuff, trying to be grown up. Her friends all do too, but it's causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, a lot of my friends have stories about their kids growing up too fast. But then, thinking about it, I guess we cause problems for our parents too.
You mean like hanging around in malls and staying out too late? Yeah, I guess it's just part of growing up, doing stuff your parents don't like.
Yeah, we pushed the boundaries too. Even so, that wasn't so bad. In fact, I think I was good most of the time. I only got into trouble a couple of times. I think I was an easy kid to raise. Having said that, though, my mom probably wouldn't agree.
Yeah. With my two coming up to 11 and 13, I'm beginning to sympathize with my mom and see what she used to go through. But then thinking about it, my mom didn't worry so much about us, not like we do about our kids.
That's true. They didn't care if we rode bikes without helmets and things like that. Maybe we all just worry too much.
Okay, so the last one, guys, do you see my screen?
Yes, the last one is Troy, no?
Oh,
The last one is Troy, yes. See, even books have mistakes. Wow, yes. The last one is Troy. Yeah, this is a Cambridge book, but yeah, it happens to the best. All right, so the last one is Troy. Let's check. Armando, read the statement in number 2, and Areli, you read the complement you wrote, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Troy. Yeah, they are legally old enough at 16 or 17.
I wrote only the expression even then, and I don't continue.
The expression was even then? Yes.
No, sorry, even then is for the first one. Sorry, number 2, having said that, some
Even,
them,
it was, well, I think they mentioned to Miss.
Huh?
Having said that, parents encourage them to blah, blah, blah. And then he said, but even so, it even too young, I didn't catch the complete one.
I
But
think it's too young.
no,
Okay.
Yes, right after saying 16 or 17, he says,
but even so,
I think it's too young. But even so, I think it's too young, because I was writing the answers on my cell phone too. So the expression was, but even so.
really? I don't know how I get that.
because the one that you said, Arely, was at the very beginning.
At the beginning.
Having said that, but then when he said, yeah, they're legal old enough at 16, 17, and then he said, but even so, I think it's too young.
Okay. So I caught another one.
Yes. All right. Number 3, okay, Gloria, please read the statement, and Constanza, complete it with what you wrote.
Yeah, they're legally old enough at 16 or 17. No, that's number 2, sorry. Number 3. You even hear of kids texting at the wheel.
Okay. Constanza, can you complete it?
Teacher, I can hear all the audio.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm not able to answer the
activity. All right. Don't worry, Constanza. Letty, can you read the sentence with which you completed? Number 3.
Number 3, I just catch then again, and I miss the rest.
Okay. Yes, the expression is then again. Then again, correct. And he said, then again, adult drivers do that too. Adult drivers do that too, meaning texting, right? Bere, please read the 4th statement, and Alma, please complete it.
Yes, Miss Troy. A lot of my friends have stories about their kids growing up too fast.
But then think about it, and I miss the rest.
Okay, but then, correct, that's the expression.
Thinking about it?
Thinking about it, but then thinking about it, I guess would cause problems for our parents too. Correct. Okay, and the last one, Ismael, can you please read the statement 5, and Areli, can you complete it, please?
Lucy, I think I was an easy kid, right?
Having said that, though,
Okay. Having said that, though, then he says,
my mother wouldn't have say
Yeah.
the same or something like that.
my mom probably wouldn't agree, he said.
My mom probably wouldn't.
Very good. Okay, very good. Now, I think this is enough practice of connecting ideas. We practice with ing, with ed, with perfect participles, and the last part of this was contrasting, linking contrasting ideas, using the present participle to link contrasting ideas, right? So please, this is one of the notes you have to study right before your test, okay? Keep that in mind. And now we're going to go to, we're going to continue with the reading part, which is, in my opinion, the one that we've been struggling the most. When it comes to time, okay? Remember, the timing is super important. So when it comes to time, I think you're improving in the writing part, but you need to improve the time you spend on the reading part. Because if you don't have enough time, you will just answer like crazy at the end, and chances are you get it wrong. Okay, so part 6, okay? First of all, what do you have to do in part 6? Part 6 is cross-text. That's the terminology of Cambridge. It's called cross-text multiple matching, okay? Cross-text multiple matching. Here, you get 4 short texts, as in the picture, short 4 texts, and 4 questions. You need to compare and read across the 4 texts in order to answer the questions. You probably remember this part of the exam, yes? As you can see, there are 4 short texts on the left, which together make a long text for you to read. And then you have your questions. Here, for example, the text is always followed by 4 questions, which refer to the 4 of them. What you need to do is to compare and contrast them in order to be able to answer the questions, okay? Reading and use of English, part 6, basically, guys, tests your understanding of underlying opinions and attitudes of different writers, as well as agreement and disagreement between them. But as you can see here, it's always about different writers or different students, different people's opinion. Okay, so it checks your understanding of opinions, attitudes, agreement and disagreement between them. And important, the opinions and attitudes are not explicitly stated, but must be identified by you by analyzing the information in the text, okay? Usually the questions look like this. Check. Which reviewer has a different opinion from the others on the confidence with which Button discusses architecture? Number 2, shares reviewers A's opinion whether blah, blah, blah. Number 3, expresses a similar view. Number 4, has a different view. So check, this is all about opinions. The difficult part is, as it says below, the opinions and the attitudes are not explicit for you because that would be so simple. And this is a C1. You have to identify them by analyzing the information. So we're going to check the 3 most common problems with the part 6. And after this, we're going to check the tips and then practice with part 6, all right? Problem number 1 is candidates don't know how to do the task. This is one of the major issues. This is why here I'm trying to break it down. I'm saying this is part 6, and this is what it consists of, which is 4 opinions. That's why the name is cross multiple matching, because you need to read all of them and form an opinion. The questions, I'm showing you the questions and I'm explaining they're always about opinions or points of views, agreements, attitudes. So once you know this, it's going to be easier for you, right? One of the major issues of this part is that you need a clear strategy in order to find the correct answers effectively and efficiently, okay? Unfortunately, many students struggle with this point, and in this one, they make a lot of mistakes, according to Cambridge statistics, okay? And not only that, but we waste a lot of time that you could use for other tasks. So I don't know if you agree, but in this part, according to the Cambridge statistics, people waste more time than in other reading parts, right? So this is one of the most common problems. You don't know how to do the task because you don't understand the task. Now I just explained, okay? And another, lack of time management, problem number 2. Remember that time in the C1 exam, it's super important, okay? And this applies even more in reading and use of English, as you only have 90 minutes to complete a task. Remember, the first tasks, the first 4, it's just multiple choice, but then you start with the readings, reading 5, reading 6, reading 7, and reading 8. So you have 4 and 4. The first 4 you can do quick, but then you have 4 readings, okay? And you also have to consider, okay, because this is not a presential course, you haven't been able to do it. But in the next practice we have, I'm going to send you the answer sheet so that you can also monitor the time, okay? Remember, you have to transfer your answers onto a separate answer sheet at the end. You also need time for that. So you have to be very aware the day of the exam, since you cannot use your phone, have a watch, okay? And you have to decide which parts you need to work on and become faster. Based on what I've been getting from the activities I had with you, you need to become faster in reading. Problem number 3, the one I've been mentioning a lot, lack of reading and language skills. The focus in this task is on comparing different opinions and attitudes. So your language and reading skills have to be well-rounded in order to be able to answer the questions. If you struggle a lot with the vocabulary, then you waste valuable time. So let's learn, guys. Let's learn some helpful tips for this part, okay? As tip and strategies, number 1, I would say follow a plan. What do I mean when I say follow a plan? I always recommend following a step-by-step process that you can easily memorize and recall or remember when you need to. So for this part in particular, a plan that I'm not saying this is the only technique, but I'm saying this is the one that Cambridge gives us, and it's my job to share with you. Number 1, read the title and the text quickly, just quickly. So this is why the other day we were talking about reading techniques. I was like, yes, you can do scanning, yes. But Cambridge in their material preparation always mentions you have to read quickly, okay? Because these texts are harder than others. So number 1, read the title and text quickly. Don't stop in words you don't know, just quick. Number 2, analyze the questions. Number 3, find the required information. And number 4, compare the opinions and attitudes and choose the correct answer. This is the suggestion, okay? Try to follow this plan. When you analyze the questions, remember you can write on the exam, you can circle, you can underline keywords and then find them in the paragraph. Compare, is this the one that best fits or not, right? Okay, this is the suggestion of following a plan. Now we're going to analyze it one by one, all right? First one, read the title and text quickly. Okay, Berek, can you please help us reading this slide, please?
Yes, miss. Read a title and text quickly. The texts in this part often have a specific flavor without requiring you to know any details about a topic or anything like that, but you should be prepared for some unusual and really specific vocabulary that you don't usually come across. For this alone, it makes sense you give the text a quick read-through so that you can switch yours from the often more general or literary text in the other parts. An even more important reason to first read the text, however, is that you want to get a general idea of opinions and attitudes that the different writers have in the 4 shorter texts. After all, the whole task is about comparing what different people think about a certain topic, so try to get the feeling for what you are trying to say. It can also be useful to highlight different sections in each text in which you can identify the opinions and attitudes, as you might be able to refer back to them once we get to the next steps.
Excellent, very good, okay? So as you can see, the suggestion is to read overall the text, as I said before, don't waste time in unknown words. You already know a technique to guess meaning from context, but that comes in number 3, not in number 1. When you find the required information, yes, you can wonder, what is the meaning of this word, but not in number 1. Number 1 is just going to give you a general idea. This is what you want, general idea of opinions and attitudes of these 4 people, right? And again,
Yes, I think that we lose time in this part, not trying to get all the information at the beginning or at the first glance, and then we lose time because we do not focus exactly which is the information that we need to answer. Well,
exactly.
in my case.
So do it like this, read it quick, title and text, okay, title and paragraph, then analyze the questions, not words you don't know, questions. Then find the required information. If you don't know, guess meaning from context really quick, and then compare, and you will do it faster. All right, this is number 1. Analyze the question. Okay, Gloria, please help us with this slide.
As soon as you familiarize yourself with the text, you need to move over to the questions and find out what exactly you are looking for. Read the questions carefully and underline the most important parts. Have a look on the next slide for an example.
Very good. Excellent. All right. I'm going to share the next slide for an example of this, okay? Just remember, number 1, get familiar with the text, as Gloria just read. And then questions, because the question tells you what you need to look for, what is asked for you. And as I said, underline, circle, you can do that. Sometimes people believe I cannot take any notes. Yes, you can. You can write on the booklet of the exam as much as you want and need, but at the end, transfer everything to the answer sheet, and then on the answer sheet, don't make any other writings, because these exams, we use a special scanner. The teachers don't check one by one, just the writing part, yes. But there's a special computer program and a scanner that checks the questions. And believe it or not, sometimes students get wrong marks because they didn't mark enough with the pencil. So the scanner is not a person, they cannot read, so they say no answer. So also mark it well with your pencil. If you change your opinion, erase it completely, because if the scanner detects 2, wrong. Okay, so erase 1 completely. That's important. All right, here's an example. All right, which reviewer, check the question, has, I would underline, a different opinion from the others? Opinion on what or about what? On the confidence with which Bottom discusses architecture. So now I have to look for opinion, Bottom, and confidence, mostly architecture. So then I go and look for that, okay? So in question 37, we need to find one reviewer that thinks differently about the Bottom's level of confidence when it comes to the topic of the text. So immediately turn on your radar for specific vocabulary, okay? And then you go hunting for those words and you find your answer. This is the suggestion, okay? Because believe me, if you don't underline, we get so tired because at the beginning we read this text is usually scientific, okay, in taste. So the brain is not used to read that unless it's your career. But we get tired and you get overwhelmed by so many words and questions. So you need to keep it clear in your head what each question is asking specifically, okay? They are meant to be confusing. All right, number 3, find the required information. Alma, can you please help us with this slide?
Yes. Find the required information. Now it is time to go back to the text and search for the information that the questions dictate. In this step, you need to show that you can scan a text for very specific information, but you also need to show that you did your homework during the first read through, as we can usually find the differences based on our general feel for the different writers' opinions and attitudes. Looking for clues for what the writers think about the bottom's level of confidence in his arguments, we get to the following.
Mm-hmm. For example, here, okay, thank you, Alma. For example, here, I try to make it big. Hopefully you can see. So the question is, has a different opinion from the others on the confidence with which Bottom discusses architecture. And as Alma read, looking for clues, the ones that we underline for what the writers think about the Bottom's level of confidence, we get this, okay? Check the underlined parts. They show what each reviewer thinks about that question 37. Okay, so what I would do, because I have 4 questions, is question 37, I underline just like this, because you cannot use colors. So like this, but with my pencil. For question 38, I would circle, okay, the elements in the paragraphs so that I don't get confused with so many underlined. For the next question, I would use dot lines to identify this is for question number 40. And for question, I don't know, 37, 38, 39, 40. For the last question, I would maybe circle, but in a rectangle or with double lines to show the difference. Because check, all of this underline is just for one question. Person A, brave and highly intelligent with typical self-assurance. B, yet one is left with the feeling that he needed the help and support of earlier authors on the subject to walk him across the daunting threshold of architecture itself. C, Alain de Botton has a great time making bold and amusing judgments about architecture with lavish and imaginative references. D, de Botton certainly writes with conviction. So based on this is the next step. I'm not going to tell you the answer yet. Just I underline what they think. Remember, it's their opinion, okay? Let's go to the next step. Here we are on the step number 3, okay? I read quickly, I analyze the questions, I find the information in the text and underline. Number 4, I compare and choose the answer. Okay, let's do that. Don't compare in step 3. That's a different step. Okay, so who hasn't read? Constanza has issues with the microphone. Armando, can you help us read this slide, please?
Yes. Compare the opinions, attitudes, and choose the correct answer. Last but not least, we need to look at the information we extract from the text from the perspective of the questions we are trying to answer. In this case, we have to find the one opinion that differs from the others. In text A, C, and D, we find words and phrases like brave, self-assures, bold, and amusing judgments, and conviction, while in the text B, the reviewer describes the same point with the bottom's need for help from other authors, which definitely sounds much more negative than the other three reviews. Concluding our analysis, we can confidently choose text B as the correct answer for question 37. Repeat the last step and this one of the other questions, and you will find that regarding and use of English Part 6 isn't as daunting as many believe.
Okay, exactly. So if we go back, the question was, has a different opinion on the confidence with which the bottom discusses architecture. So as Armando read, text A, C, and D, you find words brave, self-assurance, bold, amusing judgments. So all similar opinions, all very similar opinions. The only one that criticizes, let's say, more, and it varies, is B. Okay, because he says, no, he needs help from other authors. He's not saying he was brave, his self-assurance, he was amusing. No, he's saying, he's describing something completely different. It has a negative sense. And you are answering the question, which one has a different opinion? So 3 have similar opinions, but B has the different one. Okay, so this is the suggestion, guys. I'm not telling you to spend a lot of time on this. With the practice, you do it fast. Okay, and timing yourself up. But this is how we do this part of the exam. Okay, did you find it interesting? It's a different approach, but it's going to help. Okay, and follow my idea here. If you check everything I underlined for 37, imagine what you are going to underline for 38. So don't underline anymore, circle. Next one, double lines. Last question, dot line, so your brain doesn't get confused. Okay, excellent. Any questions before we practice? No? All right, I see many of you are also taking a bite of something. I know you're hungry, and I'm sorry, the break was supposed to be at 11. We can have it now. It's 11:05, and I'll see you back at 11:35 to practice this. Okay.
Okay.
All right, get something to eat, and I'll see you back in 30 minutes.
That link, we are going to work it after, right?
When we come,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
when we come back. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Miss.
You're welcome.